Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm literally so excited to have a second video on this channel. I hope this channel inspires people to reconsider what their Judaism means to them if they're Jewish, to question their ideas, to feel a connection to their spirituality, to Hashem, to God, to themselves in a lot of ways, and to keep learning and growing. And so today's topic is one that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, actually. I recently went to a party and I felt so uncomfortable because ever since I became religious, if you've watched my last video, you know that a couple years ago I became an Orthodox Jew, an observant Jew. I cut out a lot of things from my life. I was very involved in party culture. I went out a lot to clubs, parties, bars, just drinking and just experimenting with all sorts of things. And I found that none of it really brought me any lasting happiness. It all just kind of brought me short, cheap thrills and left me even sadder than I was before, right? Even like more broken feeling and no fulfillment. And it wasn't really sustainable for me. So I do have a lot of friends who are from like all different sort of religious walks, and a lot of times they'll invite me to go to parties, and I recently went to one, and a topic that I came across at that party which made me feel so uncomfortable is a topic of, in Judaism, what's called Sher Ngia, which is basically guarding your touch. In Orthodox Judaism, we hold or believe that basically touch should be reserved for only touch between men and women, between opposite genders, should be reserved only for the most intimate personal relationships of man and wife, husband and wife. It should be reserved for marriage. We wait for marriage to have physical intimacy. Even for hugs, though, like men and women don't hug, they don't high five, they don't shake hands, none of that. And I know that might sound shocking and weird. Like, I literally grew up high fiving anyone I want, hugging anyone I want, kissing guys in college, and it being no problem and totally normal. But Judaism is really beautiful to me in that what's beautiful to me is that it allows us to understand the sanctity of touch and of the sanctity of the connection that touch provides us with, and how special and sacred that is. Touch in Judaism is not something that we like ignore and say is shameful or bad. Just the opposite. It's actually so good, so holy, so enlivening that it's reserved for only that special committed relationship between a man and wife. And so this in dating plays out in really crazy ways. In dating, Orthodox Jews typically will try to avoid touching until marriage, and literally all sorts of touching. They won't even be usually in the same room, like in private, enclosed together, in locations like at night where touch might happen. So it's totally different from regular dating, like literally worlds away, right? Where hookup culture and one night stands, and people often ask me like, "Oh, how could you even know you want to marry someone if you've never touched them before? Like, what if you don't have physical connection with that person? What if you could never have that with that person?" And I wanted to address that question because it's actually so interesting. It's the opposite of what I thought it would be. I used to think like that. I used to agree. I used to think, how could you ever marry someone that you've literally never even kissed? Like, what if they're a bad kisser? But what's so beautiful about Judaism is that when you date someone and you get to know the person for who they are on the inside and their soul that much, that you feel such a strong connection to them even before ever touching them and establishing that higher level of connection, you are already feeling so close to that person. You already know them and know their soul and feel connected to them enough to want to marry them. And then when you add that layer, right, like the cherry on the top of the icing on the top of the cake, it's even more meaningful. And that connection that you've built with them without touch is what elevates the experience of finally being intimate with that person. So it's actually because you haven't touched that person that you're able to have even more of a meaningful connection with them after when you're married and you can touch them. And Judaism doesn't hold back on like what you're allowed to do when you're intimate with your partner, like not at all. Like Judaism is like whatever you do behind closed doors, that's fine with your husband, but it has to be reserved. It's all about elevating the physical mundane world into the spiritual to make it holy. And of course, you can touch anyone. You can have sex with anyone that you see. But if you reserve that special sacred part of your life, of yourself, there's no more that you literally can give to a person than your body, right? There's no more that you could know a person, that you could be closer or more intimate with person than if you're sleeping with them. Then that is elevating the physical, the mundane, and making it spiritual, making it holy, sanctifying it. And that's what Orthodox Judaism is all about. And that's what's so beautiful to me is before I remember feeling so slighted in dating when I would like go out with a guy and or even kiss a guy and like it didn't like nothing came of it. Like they weren't like we didn't have any sort of meaningful long lasting relationship after that. I would be like so hurt and so slighted, genuinely, like anxiety, depression, like symptoms of all that would arise from feeling so like just worthless and disposable. And I know a lot of other girls feel that way because I have a ton of friends who say to me who were I see like struggling with this and feeling so just upset and like they're literally worthless if a guy that they had some level of intimacy with, some level of physical connection with, just ignores them or just doesn't want to be with them, isn't committed to them. Judaism protects the hearts of people, of women, by making sure that there's boundaries, that we don't just exploit the most holiest spiritual, literally spiritual act that we can do. It says that the holiest room, in Jewish thought, is the holiest room in a Jew's home is the bedroom, because that's where physical intimacy happens between a husband and wife. And the Shekhinah, the divine presence of God, the feminine aspect of God, so to speak, is actually present when a couple is being intimate, when a husband and wife are being intimate in their bedroom. So it's not that we say like intimacy is bad, physical touch is wrong. No, just the opposite. And I've seen the effect of that so much when I look at friends who I know who are suffering in the dating world. Like, okay, everyone's suffering in the dating world, right? Like, we can't sugarcoat it. Like, it's rough out here. But when I see people who are dating from a space of guarding their touch, and they're just like, yes, they get hurt, but the hurt is so much less deep, really. Like, it's so much shallower. You can heal after a couple days, literally. Like, you're not heartbroken, versus friends who I know who've developed a level of physical intimacy with the person they're dating and it not work out in the end. That is literally devastating and like heartbreaking. Like, they could be depressed they could be devastated for like literally months over a man if they feel like they gave them something and they're owed something in return. Because I believe that God knows how our bodies and how our souls function best, and how we are supposed to feel, and what level of commitment we're supposed to have to somebody that we're being that intimate with. This is not like the earth was created a year ago and we're just exploring what sexuality is. No. It's been around for a very long time. And I feel like if there's wisdom on this topic, ancient wisdom on this topic, I am like open and receptive to it, because I see that, oh, it's not working out. And this is not like revolutionary like concepts that I'm talking about. This is not so hard to understand. It does make sense. But I just find that in our modern world, it's the whole concept of modesty and of guarding touch is just so thrown out the window that it's really sad to me. And I feel like women are the ones who suffer because of it. I hate seeing my friends just depressed over guys who they shouldn't have, okay, I'm not judging you. Like, this is in no way meant to be judgmental. And of course, not everybody subscribes to life as an Orthodox Jew. Like, I don't think that. But I just want to invite in a narrative that I think is so beneficial, especially to women. Like, it's heartbreaking for me to see people giving their bodies and to men who, it's like, it's not your husband. He's not committed to you at all. He's probably gonna leave you the next day, right? The next, and it's not to say you can't be in a lasting relationship for years and years that's loving and good, and not be married. Of course you can, but this is just my personal belief system, and you don't have to believe this at all. But that's a little bit about Sher Ngia, guarding one's touch, and a little bit of the benefits that I've seen and experienced firsthand because of it and watched a lot of other people see. I'm so curious to hear your thoughts. And again, I just want to give a disclaimer that this is not meant to be judgmental or pushing people to subscribe to a lifestyle that I subscribe to. I just think it's an interesting change of perspective from a lot of what's typically out there. So please leave your thoughts below, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.